Trends aren't really anything new to gaming. Trends can be like game mechanics, character archetypes, or even genres. Remember back in the 360 days where every guy on the cover was a brunette or had a buzz cut and they looked like super grizzled and edgy? Remember when it felt like every single game coming out was a first-person shooter? Or do you remember when games came with like choice decisions that influenced the ending? Even if the game would have benefited without the branching paths. Like, Web of Shadows should not have had choice mechanics at all. Yeah, choosing the symbiote side definitely made for some pretty fun cutscenes, and it did make the game feel a lot more immersive, like you were Spider-Man making these choices, but it didn't make sense because that's not who Spider-Man is. It would have been far better if the game sees him going from this light character to a more brutal hero turning villain, then having him have the strength to reject the symbiote again. I guess QuickTime events are kind of a trend. They don't happen nearly as much now as they did back then. And the 8th gen saw the rise of gacha systems, RNG, and loot box microtransactions that somewhat became the norm. With these trends, it was less about the game design and more of just a monetary cash grab. I'll never forget when I played Assassin's Creed Unity for the first time and I saw microtransactions for what? Hoods? Bracers? Pants? This was disgusting, but it didn't stop there. Avengers and Destiny took this idea and fully ran with it. Who's paying $15 for a single costume in Avengers? And in Destiny, a bunch of cosmetics that used to be free are now behind paywalls in the sequel. And games like Battlefront had these RNG loot boxes to promote progression, but really at the end of the day, it just turned into straight up gambling. And Halo Reach did this the best back in the day. Basically, depending on how you did in an online match, you'd get credits and you could pick and choose what you wanted to spend those credits on. And the Master Chief Collection takes a similar approach, albeit a lot more simplified, but that also makes it somewhat more confusing too. You could also kind of see a Season Pass DLC being a trend too. I saw this becoming more of a thing in 2010 with Call of Duty and even Assassin's Creed. I thought this was going to be the end of gaming as we knew it. Anytime something new happens in any industry, there's going to be some old man yelling at the sky saying it's going to be the end of the world. This is currently one of the most profitable industries, more than music, more than movies. It is not leaving anytime soon. I think the Battle Pass and free-to-play games is somewhat fine. It gives you access to cosmetics you normally wouldn't have, but this should only be in free games or if games that have been out for like a year or so. I haven't really thought of the logistics of it, to be honest. I think one of my favorite trends in the past decade is that Minecraft style of open world games. Finite resources, needing to craft tools and weapons, and that feeling of exploration is something that can't really truly be expressed. Finding a stash of diamonds in Minecraft is truly magical. Creating new ways of fun in the Breath of the Wild sandbox is addicting, and it makes you feel like you're the first one to discover this fun. And Halo Infinite is the next to adopt and adapt this philosophy on Zeta Halo with great success. And I gotta be honest, I haven't played the campaign in Infinite, but I've heard that open world is nothing but fascinating. Assassin's Creed is kind of the premier open world game as of late. It totally changed the way we experience sandbox games, and it became almost too trendy where everyone hates it now. Using viewpoints to basically unlock the rest of your map is always so bitched about, and it's in tons of games in one way or another, but I thought it was kind of cool, and I still think it's kind of cool. Having the map reveal throughout the campaign was so addicting, and it always made me want to come back and play more. I also loved renovating all of the businesses in these games. Becoming basically the main kingpin of Assassin's Creed made my dorky, prepubescent, fat-ass self feel cool. There is, though, one trend that no one is talking about that I hope is here to stay. It's in Assassin's Creed, it's in Monster Hunter, and it's even in Halo. Can you guess what it is? Is it procedurally generated worlds? No. Is it cloud or subscription-based gaming? I wish, but no. Is it remasters and remakes? No. But Ubisoft, where is the Sands of Time remake? I had to buy the original on Steam. I haven't played it yet, but I really plan to. And if you want to see me stream it, let me know down below. But the best trend in gaming, without a doubt, it's gotta be the grapple shot, the grapple hook, the grappling hook, whatever you want to call it. This mechanic is so badass. Oh my god. This is like my favorite thing to mess around with in any game, and the best part is, it doesn't take anything away if it's not there. It just adds on. It is perfect. But we need to look at the origins of this mechanic. Where did the grapple shot first hook our hearts? That sounds gross. Where did the grapple shot first steal our hearts? That sounds a lot better. But before we get into that, this isn't a definitive list of all the times a grapple hook has been used in a game or what are the best uses of the grapple hook. These are just my personal experiences. Just some of my personal favorite and most notable uses of this mechanic. And if there's any that I missed, let me know down below. The year is 2009. Batman Arkham Asylum arrives to store shelves. It's an atmospheric 3D Metroidvania that captures the hearts of everyone. Even by today's standards, this game is nothing short of fantastic. There's so much lore, there's incredible game design, and there's unique characters everywhere you go. One of my favorite ways to kill time in Arkham Asylum was just using the grapple hook to get my way around the prison yards. Now, it's not the first time we've ever had a grapple hook in a game, not by a long shot. I think the closest we could get to the origins of what the grapple hook is now is probably from Zelda. But nonetheless, it's still incredibly fun to do this in Arkham Asylum because it's so effortless. You just press the right bumper and zoop! With each entry in the series, it just got better. Arkham City and Origins, it's basically the same thing, but it's a lot faster than it is in Asylum. Then Arkham Knight just says f all and slingshots your ass in the sky. It's so easy to use and it feels so powerful. It's absolutely perfected here in the final entry of the series. The first time we saw a real grapple hook in Assassin's Creed was the grappling hook in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. The Industrial Revolution era themed entry in the series faced a lot of criticism, and one of the main reasons was that they had this uber powerful mechanism that would have never existed in this time. Dude, Ezio and Altair somehow fit a pistol on their wrist. They made the first civilization basically gods, and you could somehow view your ancestors' memories through blood, through DNA, and this is where you draw the line? Dude, some of you guys really need to evaluate your priorities. But the main complaint with the grappling hook is that Ubisoft made the world so big that it was the only real way to traverse here to make it fun, and I just don't see that. I thought it was fun as hell to parkour up buildings even without the grappling hook, and that device just makes it even more fun. And you could also use it as a zipline and just take in all of that beautiful scenery. Even the roots of this idea were in the Ezio trilogy when they introduced the lifts in Brotherhood and the zipline in Revelations. Anytime you see a lift, you just cut the rope and the counterweight just lifts you up. And you could use this as a weapon too. Sometimes that counterweight can also crush your enemies. It kind of made the world feel like really alive, like Rome still wasn't being built, because let's be real, Rome wasn't built in a day! It made it feel like Rome was still being built, and this was just by using your surroundings to your own benefit. And it's so much cooler than just running through an open room in Assassin's Creed 3. And in Assassin's Creed 3, you get the rope dart. Now, it's no grapple shot, but it still kind of acts in the same way. You could bring enemies to you or even hang them off of a tree. This was the sickest thing to my 13-year-old self back in the day. You can only really do this in the forest, but it's still extremely gratifying to pull it off. I think the most unexpected use of this mechanic was in Halo Infinite. The reveal of the grapple shot. I didn't think this would be a big deal, honestly, but it really adds something to the experience. The grapple shot gives you new axes to play with that makes the Reach jetpack look like a baby's toy in comparison. The gadget instantly became a fan favorite, and it's my favorite Spartan ability to play with. What caught my eye was that in one of the trailers, a player grapple shot a flagpole, then another player grapple shot that player. It was cool, but I thought it was mainly trailer bait. I didn't think there'd be any legit or practical use for this, but there is. You can easily get the advantage on your enemy team with the grapple shot and get some pretty dope shots with this too. The grapple shot can also bring equipment or weapons right to you, and that's awesome. You can also shoot yourself up to something like a Banshee and hijack an air vehicle. Dog, I shit myself. It balances out the multiplayer so that way no one feels too powerful no matter where you are or what vehicle you have. And in the campaign, it's used to get yourself out of tricky situations or find some beautiful viewpoints. And all of those uses that you have in the multiplayer are here in the campaign. And you know what? I think web shooters should be considered grappling hooks. They kind of act in the same way, so like, why not? Insomniac developed the best web swinging mechanic, maybe not the most advanced like Spider-Man 2 from 2004, but it's still way more fun here regardless. You can pull enemies to you or pull yourself to enemies, make something as simple as a trash can as lethal as a bullet, and I remember in Ultimate Spider-Man you could hang enemies off of a light pole with your webs. I really wish they'd put this back in the games, to be honest. This was so cool. While I was doing, research for this topic, I stumbled upon this game called Cyberhook. It's a swinger game with this vaporwave aesthetic, and it's really cool. Swinger game? Is that a word? I'm quitting it. It's a swinger game with a vaporwave aesthetic, and the skybox looks really familiar. I thought that this would have been a really calming, chill game, but good lord, was I wrong. This is an adrenaline-pumping DMT gamer lo-fi chill beast to study to fever dream. I downloaded the demo on PC and it's beautiful! Then I made the brilliant decision to get this on my Switch. I spent almost $1,500 on this thing. It took 2 days to build, and I got it for Disney Infinity and Black Ops 2. Good thing I'm getting the Lego Skywalker Saga on this. Cyberhook has such a fun game style, and I feel like I won't ever even come close to completing it. It looks like CSGO mods that make you just kind of slide around the course. You know, when someone's got this as their B-roll, it's gonna be the most brutal comeback ever. Yeah, I probably should have just gotten this on PC, but I wanted to see how it would run on the Switch, and I wanted it portably as well. I gotta say, even on the Switch, this game runs like butter.
Hi, I'm Butter.
This is somehow extremely calming, yet extremely thrilling. You could slow down time to make sure you hit the right block at the right time, or else you are dead. You gotta shoot down green blocks, and you can also climb up these yellow bars. There's so much that can happen, and the screen starts to warp, and it makes you feel like you're free falling. The way you move here kind of reminds me of Ghost Runner too. Ghost Runner sees you as a cyberpunk ninja with some of the sleekest parkour in recent years. You're mainly wall running, but you also get this whip to get to certain spots, and it just feels kind of half-baked here. This game is actually pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Red Steel 2. Do you remember that game? My fondest memory playing Red Steel 2, I'll never forget this. I had to be really quiet just because my dad was sleeping, and he ended up sleeping throughout the entire day. But yeah, all I could really say is Ghost Runner is kind of cool. I played the demo for like barely 15 minutes, and that was more than enough time for me. The reason why I'm talking about the grapple hook right now is because of arguably my favorite game of 2021, Monster Hunter Rise. I played a good amount of 3 Ultimate on the 3DS and the Wii U. I played a bit of 4 Ultimate. I kind of fell off of World, but Rise, man, Rise is something truly special. Monster Hunter Rise made me fall back in love with the series. With my lack of play with World, Rise felt like a breath of fresh air and something truly new. I know that the wire bug and the Palamute were in World, but it was my first time in Rise. I didn't think that these were mechanics I'd really use all too much, and boy was I wrong. I didn't even realize how slow Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was until I played Rise. That's when I realized how fast-paced this game is. Riding the Palamute makes everything a lot more swift. It's also perfect to keep yourself kind of safe while you're using a whetstone, healing up, or eating your rations. But that wire bug, dude. The wire bug completely changes how this game is played. Get hit away by a monster? Wire bug. Can't reach a ledge? Wire bug. Bro, sometimes 2 monsters will be fighting each other, you weaken one of them, and then you get the wire bug and you ride it and fight the other monster with that monster? This is all kinds of hype. I love this mechanic so much, and it's nothing but fun. It makes all the battles feel more intense, it keeps everything fluid, and always pushes the momentum. And I bet that Capcom is going to keep the wire bug in the next Monster Hunter game, and I really hope that they do. And I can't just blindly praise this. There's definitely some underutilized instances where the grapple shot is just the definition of underwhelming. The LEGO games. We got Skywalker Saga coming out real soon, and they've captured the hearts of everyone who's played them. They span from Star Wars to even Doctor Who with LEGO Dimensions. The level of polish, creativity, and just overall fun is unparalleled. But my god, that grapple mechanic is lame as hell, dude. It's a button press and you just climb up it. I get why it's designed this way, but I feel like there's something far more interesting that they could have done here. Even in the Skywalker Saga, it looks like you could use it in combat and it looks so clean. The point I'm trying to make here about the grapple shot, grappling hook, grapple hook, whatever you want to call it, it's just fun, and it only adds to the experience. If Monster Hunter, Assassin's Creed, or Halo didn't have this mechanic, they'd still be great. It doesn't really take anything away. And if you don't use it, you don't. You're still gonna have a good time regardless. And that's the point that I'm trying to come across. A lot of gaming trends are what the games are centered around, like I mentioned. Gacha systems, RNG loot boxes, branching paths in video games, they are the center of so many titles. But yeah, you have games like Cyberhook where it's the main point of the game, but it's very few and far between. And they're also mainly regulated to like indie games. You might have like the one outlier that's Spider-Man Far From Home VR experience. But the grapple shot, this tiny minimalist mechanic, something that very could have well been made last minute for all we know, is wonderful. It's been popping up in even more games as of late, like Doom, Titanfall, Sekiro, and it was also so fun to play back in the day with Just Cause. It's the main reason why back in middle school, I downloaded the demo for Just Cause 2. And I know the game that I've been streaming a lot lately, Dying Light, has a grapple hook, and I cannot wait to unlock it. Turn those notifications on so that way you can see my future streams, by the way. I'll be honest, I'm still in the middle of playing the Ezio collection. I plan to do a full retrospective on this. I want to do this justice, though. This is one of my favorite games of all time. So if I'm not going to do it 100%, there's no point in doing it. Anyway, dudes and dudettes, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to click that like and subscribe button. And let me know down in the comment section below, what are some games that you like with grapple hooks? Or like, what's your favorite grapple hook mechanic? I just also remembered that Uncharted 4 had this, and I actually really liked messing with that. Sometimes I would just like swing. That was really fun. But anyway, dudes and dudettes, you're never too old or too cool for video games. Major Pineapple out.